Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Distilled. Today we have a bottle of Wild Turkey Master's Keep 17 year. This is another bourbon. I'll pop this open and show you the bottle. If I can do this. All right, here we go. How'd you end up with this one, Matt?
This one was released from 2 years ago, and it was a real popular release. I think this year, when this one came out, it really started marking the point where Wild Turkey finally got its duly deserved hype.
Yeah.
I mean, it's typically known as the good old college swill, but over time, the whiskey lovers really have come around to it, and for a long time. And this bottle, I think, really specifically was where I remember it really hit a fever pitch of this thing is hard to find. You can't find it anywhere. I had to struggle to find a couple of bottles myself, and the subsequent releases of the Master's Keep series, I have not had any. This is the 17 bottle of Bond, Kentucky. It's good. It's old. Really curious to hear what you guys think about it.
You want to take a look at the bottle?
Man, we were looking at it earlier, and I'm just sitting here kind of admiring it. There's so many details to it that are so unique. Just the slight curve of the wide to not just like a pinpoint, but just that slight curve. And then we took a look at the cork. So it'd be cool to kind of see what you think. But I think it's
Mind if I?
Please.
Yeah, this is a crazy cork. I mean, if you just look at the size of this, to the size of my hand, this is no tiny cork.
not light either.
It's got some heft.
It's got some weight to it. Yeah, and that's real cork. It looks like, right? That's real cork.
And funny enough, Wild Turkey as a whole is known for notoriously bad corks that break when you try and open them, especially if they're old bottles.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But even the custom bottle, with their iconic
Boss turkey on it.
The turkey,
It's all embossed on here, huh?
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah.
But you pay for it. These are always been over $100, more like 150 plus. At this point, when this one came out, it started to get to the point where they started to charge 200. Wow, you find out they're for 250 or more. But the old releases before this just sit on the shelves for years and years and years. I'd sit on the shelves and pass them up. Let's get one another day. And after this one started hitting and kind of hit the whole hype train going, then they disappeared off the shelves everywhere and prices shot up everywhere. And but you're paying for it. It's at the time when they started this series, it was rare to find that expensive of a $150 bourbon. Like, oh my God, $150 Wild Turkey, I would never buy that.
Right.
But
so what distinguishes a bottle like this from the standard bottle of Wild Turkey then?
Whiskey, 17-year-old bourbons are just so hard to come by. 17 years in the hot, cold, back and forth season of Kentucky, it's bound to get over oaked, which some people really like oaky stuff. I like oaky stuff. This is pretty oaky. I enjoy it, but it can be soaked, it can be bitter and kind of not so great. That is undeniable. There's angel share. How much evaporation happens. 17 years, that thing is. But it costs you just the same. So it's you spend all that space in your warehouse for less liquid, but it also concentrates the flavors. So it's rare to get a good 17. And this one's pretty unanimously loved, although it's somewhat polarizing. Some people don't like it, and some people really love it. And it's somewhat polarizing, but generally I think people tend to like this one.
Okay.
I'm not going to taint your mind with my opinion or notes or anything. Let's just let's have a go.
Let's jump right in. You guys think that because another thing that we've been talking about is just that the brand, like anything, like Mercedes, there's so much history in brands. But to me, like you're saying, is this this college swill, this drink that we've had that you have way too much of. Does that ever taint? Because I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be what I think it's going to be. I hope it's not. But I know what Wild Turkey is. Like, I've had plenty of it, So I wonder if a lot of people think that way. That like, if that changes the way they think about a whiskey or a bourbon, or drink in general. Just I've had way too much of this.
A lot of people definitely have that opinion with wild turkey, no doubt. That is
Yeah.
the general thing. But I think the different brands they have, like Russell's Reserve and stuff like Master's Keep and these other releases they had along the way, that are much. They're so much different than the regular profile. Even the regular Wild Turkey 101 has come into a point where they're like, that is the best $20 bottle you get, and that is might be true. I don't know if, I think maybe in the past when you're just shooting it and guzzling bottles and getting sick.
Yeah, it's different.
It's that kind of the brain's remembering that
Exactly.
kind of that sense memory thing of being ill and that smell and that taste. But
right.
these are significantly different. And this one's particularly it's completely different. I'm so glad to have a backup of it because it's just very unique. And then once again, like I said, I have not gotten the subsequent 2 releases of this stuff. So I mean, look at the color off the bat. I mean, look at that dark color you get.
It's a pretty deep amber right there.
It's pretty deep, yeah. This one's different.
Yeah. This is not a cheap whiskey. Cheap bourbon. Yeah, you almost get into like some of these like it's almost like bordering on ruby.
Yeah, and I just swirled the glass and look at the legs. Look how slow they drip. Look how oily that is. This bottle has opened up tremendously. Wild Turkey to me also tends to open up over time very, very nicely.
If you blind tasted, if you put this in front of me blind, I would have like Wild Turkey would be like the last thing I thought of.
Would you guess bourbon?
I don't know. No, probably not.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
There's some woody notes in there that I don't typically. And maybe some, I want to call them medicinal notes, but like not maybe the medicinal that people think about when they think of whiskey.
The initial nose, I got a note that I have been looking for a long time. I hear people talk about in bourbon. I never really got it. And I can't necessarily get it right now again, but the initial thing, I got that little barrel char puff of smoke. Not like a Scotch kind of like a smoke, but
Like the
just
burnt.
like a burnt. They char the barrels, and there's a little barrel char smoke. Yeah,
right.
Which-
Like maybe like a campfire. Right.
yeah, but like not like a campfire, like a crazy Scotch campfire.
Right.
It's very subtle.
Yeah.
But people talk about it all the time in bourbon, but coming from the Scotch side initially, like I don't know what you're talking about, but actually this one, the first whiff was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And then vanilla, and then
Yeah.
orange, and
Yeah. I mean, if you put your nose right in it, you're gonna get all the typical whiskey notes. But yeah, I do get that. Like it's a little bit more. Yeah, it's like a puff. You have to like not shove your nose in there.
the lighter notes are definitely get that kind of little herbally kind of notes. The Wild Turkey's a high rye. They're considered pretty high rye bourbon, which I like. So you get a spice, that rye, that grassy ryeness, just a little bit. I mean, this is one of the most complex noses I've actually had in a while for a bourbon.
I finally got a little bit of that citrus. It took me a minute.
It's a different citrus than like the Fortuna, for instance, or it's a deeper, richer, darker.
It was inside there for a minute, yeah.
Maybe like you take a dried orange, you singe it with the lighter kind of thing, or put it in a drink kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
This one's crazy.
Like this is the orange peel,
yeah,
not so much the
that's what I mean. Like
the
that,
fruit.
you know,
Like
orange peel when you singe it.
desiccated.
Yeah, right.
Desiccated.
Yeah, it's been sitting in there,
Yeah.
right? So it's that peel that's
Maybe sitting there for a couple days, beyond a little ripe.
Oh, and then there after the citrus, to me, goes to the cherry.
Yeah.
And I love a good cherry.
getting a little hints of the cherry. I'm not pulling a bunch of that out though.
But you know,
Maybe
once-
because I'm not really.
you know, for me, the first time I ever got a cherry note was off of old Jefferson's, this famed bottle, Jefferson's Presidential. These old bottles from Stitzelweller, or Stitzelweller juice in them, and they're bottled like 93, 94, and it had red writing on it. It was like an early batch, and I was like, oh my god, this tastes in the best way, like
Mhm.
cherries, like a not like the fruit cherry, more like or maybe a maraschino or a candy kind of cherry,
Yeah.
but not like a cherry flavoring, like a cherry. But and that once again, once you find that note, it's yours and you own it for life. And ever since then, I can always
It's
pull out a cherry, and I love it, and I'm looking for it. So and the modern Pappies, I've noticed because the original Pappy was Stitzel Weller. The modern Pappies and Wellers, they do a pretty good job of having the cherry. The cherry's in there. It's different than the Stitzel Weller cherry, but I can see what they're trying to go for. It does do it justice. I said the 12 the other day, or the 15, and I just opened a Weller Foolproof today, and the cherry was there. It's good.
Yeah.
And this definitely to me has a cherry, maybe a little more than the medicinal cherry side.
Mhm.
It's just taking me a minute to get some of these out. Like I feel like it's sitting the smell it's not
Yeah,
like
try it.
it's not jumping out at me
Yeah.
like a few of the others we've tried. It's
Yeah, swirl it a bit, like get it all around in there, and like that'll oxidize those phenols, which will release them in the air. And then, I don't know if you're still doing this, but like smelling on different parts of the cup.
yeah.
You could warm it up. You could smell the back of your hand to reset your palate. You could cover it or with a glass or with your hand for a little bit,
And then like
and let it
trap them
kind
all.
of concentrate a little bit, and then you're
Once
gonna
you
go to
release.
agitate it a little bit, and then go in for the dive.
Yeah, I mean, I get some completely different notes. It's just identifying what those are sometimes.
Yeah, I just know this is great. But I do feel like I'm getting a little nose fatigue myself after getting all those different things blasted at it.
Yeah.
You can nose this thing for a while though.
Is there a black cherry? No. It's
Not
not
gonna be, no. Yeah,
Yeah.
we all have our own, set of memories and tastes and
Like-
flavors. That totally could be valid.
Yeah.
There's no wrong, answers.
I mean, some of my favorite whiskeys go into like the currant and like dark cherry. All those notes. I mean, yeah, I can imagine, but it's like it's kind of towards that realm.
And all these silly things you do and notes you're trying to pull out, it can be seeming like obnoxious and pretentious or whatever, but to me it's it's enjoyable, and like you spend good money on a good bottle
right.
and you should get the maximal enjoyment out of it. Like why not? Like instead of just shooting a thing.
I think that's the
That's a really
key
good point.
thing
I like
about
that.
like enjoying something is that
Understanding it.
right. If I didn't want to smell something, I would get something that was inexpensive and then like
Yeah.
very similar to like whatever I've had. But if I'm like trying to get something that's new, right? Like you need to find bottles with things that stand out from other things and then broaden that horizon of what you're looking for. And it's challenging because
Yeah.
it's almost a challenge because like it's throwing all the stuff at you and it's like figure me out and it's a
Yeah.
puzzle, right?
And it changes over time, and
Yeah. It
And that's
rewards
not-
you. It rewards.
it rewards you, yeah. And that's also where you can be judgmental about things, because especially in this day and age, you could spend $150 on bourbon easily, and you might not get that
Yeah.
enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
This I would pay $150 for, whatever it costs, $180 I think at the time, all day long. I think it's the value is there because I enjoy.
Yeah.
There's an enjoyment there, an experience is there.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Let's do it. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
I honestly, I didn't think I would enjoy that. I liked the smell. I liked it. But that taste, it does taste like medicinal to me a little bit, but that smoky came out for a second there. It's really tasty. It took a second. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little skeptical there. And that's why I brought up earlier about the brand, because to me, but wow, that smoky, I like that a lot.
I was gonna say too, I definitely on the palate as well get that smoked barrel char thing. It's nice.
Yeah.
I get so much spice. Like it was like eating hot wings or something.
But it's not alcohol burn. It's different, right? It's
No.
It's like pepper spice.
It's like
It's that rye spice.
Yeah. I mean, it was like honest, like eating like hot wing, like hot. Not. It doesn't taste like hot wings, but it like that spice, that heat that you get on your tongue.
Yeah, I get that kind of vanilla, that citrus kind of right into that kind of cherry, medicinal cherry-ish kind of thing. The sweetness and stuff that goes along with those fruits, and then it goes to that spice comes up, so it hits, and then as it comes down, I get more of that oak wood, and that there's somewhere in there, is like around there's like that smoked barrel char kind of thing. And then it finishes really, you get that 17 years of wood. There's wood. Almost for some person, I could see how the finishing right now, how it's like it starts to go in the direction of the bitterness of the oak a little bit. But first of all, I don't mind bitter in general. Like
I'm getting the bitter.
It's like wood bitter.
Yeah.
Like
It's like.
But it's not, to me, it's not bad. I like that. Yeah. And there's also with that, there's something else with it, like a little sweetness or maybe a little spice. But
yeah. The sweetness never really completely goes away from me. Towards the end, like when it gets woody, I'm definitely getting like sawdust and like maybe some grass.
Yeah, we need to go hunting right now. That's what I feel like. Yeah, like we put this in our pack.
Yeah.
Get our gunpowder. Go shoot some guns.
Yeah.
You know. It's cold outside.
A lot of savory kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like mildly sweet and savory, which I like.
Telling me that this is wild turkey is kind of unbelievable. I don't.
And that's why they're having a total full resurgence, and they deserve it. That Russell family for generations now have been involved in running the thing like a well-oiled machine, and they do a great job. They have good stuff. They've always had good stuff, whether it's made it to market or or we're drunk in a way that it can be appreciated. It's changed, but now it's really having full.
I think you could put this in a lineup of like Scotch, and like people will probably be fooled. Do you think?
Yeah, it certainly has the elegance of something that should be up there with the Scotch and cognac. You'd have all these kind of luxurious kind of spirits together, and you could put that with that, and it deserves to be there. It's just. How
long do they usually age a bourbon?
I mean, to be straight, I think it has to be 3 years. Bottled and bond, like this is bottled and bond, has to be minimum 4 years, along with all your other regulations. Typically, I think on market now, you'll probably see that 4 to 6 range.
Right. Like a 7 is like on the high end.
You're starting at the high side.
Yeah.
Things start to probably get good. You could argue. Some people prefer. Depends what you prefer. Some people like it younger. Some people like kind of the middle there. Even some makers, like distillers and brands, they prefer it 4 to 6 or 6 to 8. Brussels Reserve, their other line, is around 9. If you're lucky, maybe you get a 10, 11, 12. I've even heard of rumors of a rare 13 out there. And there is a special release of the Brussels Reserve 13 now. But once you start to cross, when you get to 7, 8, 9, 10, it's already starting to get really good. That can be really, really good already. It can be really good at 6 or 4 even. I've had some 4s that are amazing. And then, you start to get 10 plus, you're in that kind of ultra age kind of thing. Definitely, or 15 for sure. It's 17, oh my God. But this is the ancient bourbons. This is, to me, this is the home run. It's fantastic. I really love it. It opened up quite a bit. In the beginning, it didn't have all these, you couldn't pull all these things up, but once it got it kind of past the shoulder, it really started to open up.
Yeah, I get like, and when I first had this last sip, I was getting like maybe like, I wouldn't call it mint, but like maybe like dried mint or something. And and
I can do the mint.
It's probably from the rye.
Yeah. It's not so in your face.
It's not. It's people talk about like the levels of flavors. So like there's always like something that's like the predominant, and then like there's a secondary, and then sometimes a tertiary.
Right.
So like those tertiary ones are really sometimes hard to pick out, but once you start to remember those, like you're like, oh, way down in there in that lower level, you can get that mint or something.
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, but this fits my profile. There's cherry, and actually, it's less medicinal cherry than I remember before. It's actually more like a kind of more maraschino-y, like a real cherry, not cherry flavored, but sweet and nice.
Yeah,
and the spice. I love spicy food. I love spicy. You know, women love spicy everything.
You love one spicy woman.
This is great. I mean, this just commands you to come back for more and more and more. To smell it again, to taste it again. Is the spice less subsequent sips? A little less heat? It's still there always, but
yeah. The first one was so spicy that's like all I got.
As spice goes, generally speaking.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you this, like since I've like reduced my consumption of sugar, like my craving for like hot food like gone through the roof. Like spicy food.
Well, mine's going through the roof and it has nothing to do with my sugar.
Yeah. It's my substitute.
I think mine's just always up and to the right. Like it just,
yeah.
I just always want more, trying new things. But having it inside
a
glass is even more tasteful.
I was just getting this like crazy, like post finish, like vapors from the back of my throat coming up that were just this beautiful cherry. And now they're kind of herbally stuff. Wow, like crazy.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Is it possible to, I guess anything's possible, but to have a really good nose and not a good taste, and vice versa? Right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's not.
I think
no one's a guarantee.
Yeah.
I mean, beer is like the biggest problem for me is like that you get like all these great like tropical fruit like smells, and then you drink it and it's like meh.
Tastes like beer.
Yeah, it tastes like beer.
Versus in whiskey, you can smell tropical fruits. You're generally gonna get tropical fruits kind of thing.
I thought the nose was actually really, really great. I thought the flavor was a little on that under.
Maybe underwhelming.
Just
speaking,
slightly. Yeah, just because I think I'm still getting a bunch of the stuff.
And some people are really, really big. Like they'll judge a whiskey in general weighted more towards the nose. Like some people are just nose. Some people are more on the palate. Some people are on the finish side. Some people will judge the whole thing on the finish. And sometimes people will judge it on if the nose, palate, and finish kind of have the succinct kind of notes throughout. Yeah. So you smell it, and then you're getting what you smelled, and then you get what you finish. It could be complex just the same, but there's some kind of uniform thing going through versus you smell one thing, you taste something completely different, and then you'll be a little disjointed, a little wacky. But that could be nice too sometimes.
You get menthol at all?
Yeah. That's probably for the rye too. That minty. As the glass gets towards the end here, you probably get more char. I bet. I wonder if you're getting you get your sawdust, your wood.
Yeah.
Those
are. I'm getting also nose that I associate with like older scotches.
Well, it's old. It's been around for a long time.
I mean, they're almost like stone, like slate kind of smells.
I mean, 17 years in Kentucky could be the equivalent, double that in Scotland, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The amount of barrel interaction in and out with the heat and the cold fluctuation. Yeah, so I mean, equally, like if you like the nose of this more, it's still gonna make you drink more, and you maybe pull out more on the nose.
That's what I mean.
It's nose driven.
Yeah.
Even that more than palate driven for you in this case. So, for better or worse, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it was definitely nose driven. I like that term.
This one it commands you. It makes you drink more. Like, you're just like one more.
No, I like that.
It pulls you in and just puts hooks in you, and that's also another sign of a good whiskey. They don't all do that. I was starting to get a little turn towards a little bit of chocolate, slight, nothing crazy. Maybe a little cacao or something, just like a little hint of a chocolate.
Oh, I'm getting maybe the like mint chip.
Final thoughts.
Funny how that all works out.
What do you think?
Yeah, to me again, that nose was great. To me, I like the journey. I like the way that you think about drinking these, and it's a journey. This one was a journey for the nose, and I don't know. The drink it was really tasteful, but the nose was what kept me coming.
I like it. I mean, I like it through and through. I do know what you're saying though. Like the nose in the beginning was actually much more closed off. So it was probably more palatable, but now I think the nose is the alluring part of the thing. But I like it all. I like this stuff.
Yeah.
It's definitely up there in the kind of top of my turkey products I've tried. I really like it a lot. And bourbon in general, I really like it a lot. It's just interesting. And like I said, they don't all keep just sucking you in like that.
Yeah.
Even the really, really fancy and expensive and the good stuff. Sometimes the proof is so high, or this, that, the other. This thing really just has a nice balance of all these things where, like, man, you're trying to get, every time you sip it or smell it, it's like something different comes out. Wow.
This is like one that like really redefines wild turkey for me, and I'm glad you like have kind of changed our whole mentality about like this brand. The idea that you have one of these brands that is making sort of very mundane stuff and doing some very high-end stuff. This is something that I think you can really contemplate and get a lot of interesting notes out of that you won't necessarily find in many other bourbons, because most bourbons aren't going to be aged to this level. So that's exciting. I think that just completely changes like the split landscape of what bourbon is to me.
Yeah, it certainly is unique. I mean, once again, Rodman's bell curve theory of life. This is definitely getting outside that middle of the bell.
Yeah. This is like a lot of stuff sort of hits in the middle of the world to appeal to the most people. But then this is like far off in left field and is not like something that's going to be within your understanding of what
I've had a bunch of bourbons at this point, and there's nothing like it. I don't expect there to be more like it anytime soon. Where other stuff, the good stuff, it's still a certain kind of thing. They're kind of similar.
This one's going to really reward you. So
this one you can probably find on the secondary market or auctions like that. I think it's close to 300. So it's still out there. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less if you're lucky. It still could be found out there. The good thing is once people are onto it and trying to hoard it and trade it and stuff like that, is it will exist because it might change hands many times before it even gets opened. So you could probably find it out there.
And even if you don't find this exact bottle, like you can find other wild turkeys in this style.
Yeah, there's a whole line of Master Keeps. They're high-end stuff. They've all been delicious, in my opinion and my experience. But yeah, this
particular one,
17 Bottle and Bond, it's fantastic. I love it.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us on Distilled. We'll see you on the next bourbon.
And the spice, I love spicy food. I love spicy, women. I love spicy everything.